This is the Shadow of the Colossus OST. This is the Sunlit Earth. This was suggested by Spoonie in the chat. I do know a lot about this game. I've probably heard this song. I'm ready to talk about it again. There's all these arguments about video games. Are games art? Can games be art? And my answer to that has been, yes, games can be art, but the last one that was Shadow of the Colossus. Just take all of the things that you would get from a game, focus into like a few specific aspects, still make it a game, but make it so out there that the experience of playing it is like experiencing a work of art. Like that whole game is just like, look at our environments. There's so many of them. You just kind of got to soak it in. But yeah, let's hear the ending theme. This is the Sunlit Earth from Shadow of the Colossus. I'm going to listen through once for vibes and then again for analysis. Distorted pan flute or something. Everything seems very acoustic so far. We got this like folk percussion kind of happening. Now the percussion's big. Just a big echoey drum. And it sounds like a zither or a harpsichord or some other thing. There's a piano in there. Ah. Those are some like seeing the sunlight kind of chords there. Compositionally, this is gorgeous. And that's it. That's a very short song. There's a lot that happens in this minute and a half. This isn't a song that has like repeat sections or anything. It is just straight through a musical piece. Okay, but before we break that down, let me tell you something. I don't have a sponsor for this video. My efforts are funded by generous contributions from viewers like you through Patreon. If you want to see more of this, and you want to hear more of my stuff than anybody else can right now, go to case.dog/join, or click that link up in the card and become a moonling. That's where you get to hear my unreleased music, get access to a VIP chat in my Discord where I post the evolution of my tracks as I work on them. You can get the master stems to my 100+ songs that I've put out. And there's tiers where you can see your name in a lower third in the video, which you're about to see. Thanks for listening, and yeah, I do have blue hair now. Back to the video. So let's hear what key this is in. It sounds like A. So we start out like that, right? Just sort of arpeggiating on A. And it does that augmented thing. So we're essentially taking an inversion of the A here and putting the third up top so that we're able to change the top interval of this without really changing the implied chord. We're just going between the sus4 and the sus2 intervals of it, as you can see here, like so. And then this does that augmented chord thing where it raises the fifth to a sixth to sort of imply a different chord in the middle. And then where does it go from there? Yes, C. And we repeat what sounds like the same kind of pattern. And then we go back down to, this is a G. And And I think it does the... And we start arpeggiating up further in those higher voices too. And then we land on C. Doing roughly the same pattern. And then we do a similar thing that we did up higher, where instead of dropping the top note, we're dropping this bottom note. Yeah, so then that brings us into E minor. Then we move up to F. And then it sounds like we go back to A. And then we do one little Andalusian descendance. Yeah, one little Andalusian descent here. So we go 1, 7, 6, and then 5. But it doesn't repeat that. It goes into a different section right after. Yeah, then we're back into C. So this is playing with the A minor center of tonality and the C major center of tonality. Both of these are the same scale, essentially. It's the same notes. Right? But these two, in their relationship to each other, the sixth is always the relative minor scale of the root's major scale, right? And so if you have a minor scale, the third of that is going to be your relative major, right? So it's using that recognition that all of these notes flow together in both of these keys and shifting our root to either of those keys in such a way that makes it sound like it's our new key center, because both of them have that same kind of pull. So here, C, C to A, so we go from 1 to 6 to 1 to 6 to 4 to 3. So that essentially is like, you know, this is the 5 of the 6. So we're mimicking the last kind of movement down we did before, but just starting in major next time. Where the, okay. Then we descend down the scale, and it's gonna wanna land on A. Does it? Ah, they descend down the scale, thinking you're gonna land in the relative minor that they're using, but it actually steps back up into C, which is the major scale. Okay, what does it do here? So it does the 4 to 3, and then sounds like it goes back up to C. And then we augment the C. And then we go back down to A minor after we have that little bit of sunlight. We go up to D, it sounds like. Yeah. And then where after? So we go from 2 to 4. And then is that a major A? Yeah. Okay. Okay. Is there a last chord? No, it's just that. Okay. So there's a little bit of interesting interplay and kind of a clever way that they're using the major and minor scales here. Like I said before, they're kind of utilizing the fact that these are both like the same set of notes, and you can land on either of them from this key and use them as the key center, use them as the root key. And it plays with that a few times. One of the ways that it does this is with the that thing leading down, like that intuitively should go to the minor chord, right? But it goes up to the major chord. At the very end, they do something here where they augment this C major. It's a very sunlighty kind of. And then from there, we go up the undertones scale, or the undertone intervals. I don't know who was here last time when I was talking about that, but a 2, 4, and then 6. And when they land on 6, it's major now. So the A, which was minor this whole time, at that very end, we turn it major. The chord that was characteristically the minor chord that the song would repeatedly get pulled to gets put into major. That's a cool little poetic thing, I gotta say. And everything is pretty much, I think there is some melody beyond the arpeggios. So this, we're just starting on the 5 and then moving up to the 7 of the chord we're on. And it stays there as the chord moves down. So it has this kind of haunting, you know, kind of presence there. And it does that little thing over the Andalusian descent there. And it does this very pop chordy kind of thing here. So this is root of the chord we're on in the melody. And we're just sort of dancing around that. We land on the 5th of the next chord we move to. Then I think it goes back down to that. Yeah. And then That's so fucking pretty. It's so, like, gentle. And that melody sort of accentuates and lands on that A, right? Which is major now. All right. This is short and sweet and simple, and there isn't a whole lot more for me to analyze. The chords, albeit in a simple key, doing relatively simple things chord-wise, makes very, very effective use of the little that it is using. The augmented motions, when it does those, I just appreciate those compositionally. I really like what this has going on. And I think, you know what? Or big orchestral, like a bunch of really emotional chord changes and stuff. This is very bare bones, but it does something really cool within those limitations of its bare bones construction. And I'm torn between 4 and 5 for this. Something about such a pretty and hopeful song playing after a pretty bittersweet ending. Yeah, because I mean, it takes you out of perspective of the player character that you had, and more so into like the rest of the world being like, finally, the evil is defeated and sealed away forever. The fact that you were like an instrument in that whole thing, it sort of like hits from a different angle when you're like zooming out and everything, and you realize like, oh, I guess, like, because that's sort of the thing with that game is like, I guess in the end I played the role that was good, even though it led to my downfall. Like, there's a very, very strange kind of like twist ending to that game, but things will be okay after all. I would say I would give this a 4 out of 5 also. It's really cool. It didn't like impress me, but it did do a lot of cool things once I was breaking it down that made it sound a lot more interesting than it does on the surface. And it's beautifully composed. It's just for like a very short scene at the end of the game, but this is up there for me. This is a 4 out of 5. Wax and Gibbous, that's my rating. Thank you, Spoonie, for suggesting the Sunlit Earth from Shadow of the Colossus. All right, that one was shorter. Have there been any more suggestions? No.
All right, how do you think I did? If you like the analysis, hit like. If you want to see more stuff like this in the future, hit subscribe and the bell to make sure you see when new videos go up. Let me know what you think. Is there anything you think I missed or glossed over? Let me know in the comments. I would love the feedback. I'll see you next time.